Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to come and share this moment with you. And I was so thrilled to walk in and then listen to a good part of the lecture by Barrister Mrs. Udemezue. And I was thrilled because life lessons are more important than trying to theorize in your teaching and so on. And even though she might not have said so, what she has said simply summarizes what excellent leadership is all about, and that is service. If you want to lead, be a servant. Learn to serve. If you never learn to serve, you will never be a good leader. She mentioned so many things that make me so happy that you people are getting a lot of training and teaching in a way that, by the grace of God, as you apply in your own lives, it will help to model you. God bless you all in Jesus' name. I was asked to talk about the excellent leader. I don't know why I was chosen to do so, but for some reason, it has pleased God to place me in leadership positions. I do not believe that leaders are necessarily born. I believe that leaders are made, they are taught, they are inspired, and leaders are trained. They become what they are in leadership through all kinds of experience. Two people might experience exactly the same thing, but they take away different lessons from it. What you must take home with today is, if you really want to be a leader, you have to have character. I'm not talking of reputation, character, integrity. We will touch on that. But even before then, leadership is about influence. About influence. I thank God that I'm able to come today. Ordinarily, I would not have made it, because this is a very special day in my life. To the glory of God, my wife and I are celebrating 45 years of marriage today. So we were married on the 23rd of July, 1977. Most of you had not been born then. So you are younger than our older children. So, but when I knew that this is about young people, and one of the greatest joys of my life is mentoring young people, leading them along, helping to find open doors for them along life's tracks, I said I would not miss it, that I will be able to make it eventually. So when we talk about the excellent leader, what is leadership all about? Leadership is all about influence. The capacity to influence others. Leadership is not about position. That is why most of the politicians you see in executive power in Nigeria are not leaders. Many of them are thieves for all practical purposes. Many of them have no pedigree. Many of them have nothing to write home about. But they look at a position and they ascribe leadership to that position, and they aspire to that position, and when they get to that position, they cannot lead. They can only steal, rob, extort, and even try to force people to respect them. Leadership is about influence. You know leaders when you see them. They may not say a lot, but you know, in every organization, there are those who are leaders. There may be those who may be president or secretary general or whatever, but very often you know a few people who are really leading behind the scenes. So leadership is about influence. So if you are exuding positive, glorious influence, then you are a good leader. But if you exude vindictiveness, arrogance, pride, haughtiness, and all that, then you're a bad leader. Leadership is about influence. Leadership is about impact. If you're a leader and you are not impacting upon the life of the individuals that you're leading or serving, or the life of the organization that you're leading, you are not a good leader. You can't be called an excellent leader. So what it means is that leaders are often change agents. You are not called to maintain the status quo. For instance, if a car is moving and you put the car at 100 kilometers an hour, the moment you remove your leg from the throttle, the car starts slowing down. In order to keep the car at that same speed, the car has to continue to receive fuel that it, quote unquote, digests to produce energy. Once that fuel stops, the car stops. The reasons are obvious. There is air resistance as you move. There is the resistance of the force of gravity. And there is frictional resistance on your tires. So in order to overcome these resistances, you must keep pumping fuel into the carburetor or fuel injector to get the car to keep moving. So if you are a leader and you think all you are there to do is to maintain the status quo, you have started dying or killing the organization. There must be a proactive force within you, commitment from you to grow the organization. Excellent leadership is about lasting legacy and sustainable growth. Lasting legacy and sustainable growth. People come to a scene. I used to challenge student union government functionaries when I was vice chancellor. I would invite them to the vice chancellor's lodge and would talk to them. And I would tell them, think about all the former SUGs. What did they achieve? What did they leave behind? Are you going to be like them or will you be different? And of course, we invite them over a meal, sumptuous meal. Everybody will eat and be happy. And they will say, we are going to be different. At the end of the day, if a digbo okay, the ball they do exactly the same thing. Because they don't look into the future. They are just looking at the surrounding. How can I make money here? How can I acquire as much? It's in university you see student union president who has special assistants, personal assistants, and they will write on their boss the presidency. You know, all those things don't make you a leader. Legacy. Legacy. And then if you want to be an excellent leader, you must be a transformational leader. We will touch on that a little later. Transformational as opposed to transactional. You know, transactional leaders are those who are just there to maintain the status quo. They are there to administer, but they are not good managers. And that's why you go to the public service. For those of you who are looking for a day where you will finish your education and go and work in the civil service, you are wasting your time. If you want to kill your talents, if you want to destroy what God has brought you into the world to do, go and work in the civil service. Because there is no motivation to succeed. There is no motivation to use your initiative to become. No. Instead, if you're brilliant, they will try to destroy you because of your brilliance. So if you can cope with Nigeria civil service the way it is today, then there is something wrong with you upstairs. You need to be innovative. We'll come to that. So, transformational leadership is one that transforms, changes for the better the organization, and in the process, the individuals who are there. And then raising leadership after you are gone. That's why I have no problems coming to talk to young people. I've been there. And I've experienced a lot. To the glory of God. I didn't just get up one day and become a leader. I tried to learn. A distinguished speaker talked about being teachable. If you do not have a teachable spirit, you will never be an excellent leader. If you're proud, arrogant, haughty, you will never be an excellent leader. The hallmark of excellence in leadership, character, integrity, humility. You must realize you are nothing and nobody. God is giving you a position to make life better than others, for others. When I was appointed Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, some people said, Prof, you see, God has blessed you. He's blessing you for your faithfulness. I told them, no. God has better ways of blessing me than making me the Vice Chancellor of a university that was described as National War College number 2. 2 years before I became Vice Chancellor, cultists assassinated the Chief Security Officer of UNN. A year before I became Vice Chancellor, cultists assassinated the Dean of the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences. So I had challenges when I came on board in 2004. That's a long time. 18 years ago, I was a Vice Chancellor. That's a long time. But I succeeded on my knees in prayers. And to the glory of God, He gave me what I describe as a phenomenal of a woman, the best wife any man can find anywhere on earth. That's what God has given to me. We got married when we were very young. In fact, our first daughter was born when I was 25 years old, 25, and she was born 8 days before my bachelor's degree. I married as an undergraduate. But all through, we learned something. We knew whom we were. We knew where we were coming from. And we covenanted that we will ever be together, pray together, walk together, serve the Lord together, and do everything together. And so, I have a prayer warrior for a wife. So going to UNN, I didn't see it as blessing. You know what I told them? I said, God put me there because He knows that I will empower so many more people in life. And that's what I did. People talk about all the things we've done at UNN. No Vice Chancellor in the history of Nigerian university system has been able to build 14 lecture theaters plus one donated. The Faculty of Law Moot Court in Enugu donated 14 lecture theaters without one kobo from government. All from internally generated revenue. All. Not one kobo from government. All those lecture theaters you see for each faculty at UNN, I didn't get one kobo from the government. It was all from internally generated revenue. When students were paying a pittance in school fees. So, being a leader and then having the capacity to unravel all kinds of racketeering going on in admission process, in promotions and so on, and destroying the work of darkness. That's what God brought me there to do. And we succeeded by the grace of God. Many people even often forget, like in the introduction, that after UNN, I was also appointed the pioneer vice chancellor of Federal University Oye-Ekiti. So I was also vice chancellor, again, after UNN, of a federal university. And to the glory of God, brought that university within a short time, set it on such a trajectory that within 5 years of its existence, it was ranked among the top 20 universities in Nigeria. Brand new university. So, transformational leadership is what will take us there. Then, if you want to be an excellent leader, you have to be focused. When you're navigating an organization, focused. And navigate the organization toward sustainable growth. And excellent leaders must be effective and efficient. If you're efficient, you know how to do things right. If you're effective, you know how to do the right things. You don't let distractions along the way take you off your track. Be focused. Excellent leaders are consistent, not wishy-washy, God-fearing, not man-pleasing, disciplined, not lackadaisical, committed, not complacent, competent, not corrupt, humble, not haughty, confident, not confused, and knowledgeable, not ignorant and manipulable. These are some of the things that you need to do to be an excellent leader. And then I would like to give you the A to Z's of excellent leadership, which are now called transformational leadership. That is A, B, C, D. A, you must be accountable. If you are accountable, it breeds loyalty, it breeds admiration, it breeds trust, and it breeds inspiration. Be accountable. Be benevolent. Don't just seek your own. Be purposed to do good for everybody else. People were shocked. While I was vice chancellor, many people told me, Professor Nebo, you end up a poor man. This is not how to run a university. I told them, I wasn't a poor man when I was appointed vice chancellor. And I will not become a poor man simply because I became a vice chancellor. There were many reasons. They would tell you, no, vice chancellors don't sign certificates. They don't authorize them. You must get your own cut. I didn't get any cut from anybody. I didn't care about it. Even brethren will come to me and say, brother, the Bible says, do not be righteous over much, lest thou destroy thyself. I told them, you know what you people are trying to let me do? You want me to start taking. In fact, one brother offered me his account to use in siphoning money. I said, bro, what you people want me to do is begin to now take care of myself by stealing university money. And Jesus will say, Chinedu, and then he will leave me all alone. I said, I will never do it. Why would I? That's why many contractors who served under me said that Any contractor who failed under me will never succeed under anybody else. Because I demanded nothing from them, expected nothing from them. Be benevolent. Be kind-hearted. See, be courageous. Don't be cowardly. As a leader, if you want to be excellent, you must be able to take decisions that may not be palatable or palatable to everybody. No. Don't try to please everybody. You will never succeed. You will fail. D, be disciplined. Be disciplined, not lousy. Even discipline your tongue, what you say. Because if you're a leader and you're a braggart, people will set traps for you and you will fall. And they will laugh at you, ridicule you, and take you as nothing. So be disciplined. E, be excellence driven. Be excellence driven. When I was nominated, to be federal minister, I was a vice chancellor of Federal University of Ekiti. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know the process. My orderly worked with the DSS. One day he said, "Daddy, please, Daddy, did you commit any crime?" I said, "I work with you. What crime?" He said, "Daddy, what I'm hearing, I don't understand. You know, if you have done any wrong and you want to escape, I can show you how to disappear from Nigeria, from Cameroon, or if you prefer, from the Western distance." I said, "No. I'm not running from anybody." Because he got calls and they never told me to assess my character. I was shocked. They called people at UNN, one or two at Oye Ekiti. One of the professors and deans they called was undergoing surgery at that time. And my three referees, they called them. All of them asking about me. I didn't know it was to find out if there were any things about me that would create a problem for my screening. At the end of the day, I was invited for screening. It was later I now learned that for one of my referees, a wonderful man, they asked him, "Why are you, everybody is saying so much good about this Professor Nebo and so, doesn't he have any weaknesses?" The man said, "Yes, so he has a weakness." They said, "What is it, please? What is it?" They said, "He has an unmitigated passion for excellence. I don't work in any place to give mediocre work. No. I've never been average. I've never been mediocre. I want to be the best in everything I do. That's why I want to be the best husband, the best father, the best grandfather, and all of my family believe that that is happening today. And that's why I want to be the best lecturer, the best dean, the best vice chancellor. And I have awards to that effect, nationally and internationally." Excellence, be excellence driven. Then don't be a mediocre. F, be a farmer, not a hunter. A hunter sees something God has created, he hides, it passes, he shoots, he kills, he depletes creation by one. A farmer gets seed, prepares ground, works very well, plows the ground, make ridges where possible, plants the seed, make sure it is watered, weeds it, at the end of the day, multiplies his seeds 100-fold or sometimes even more. Be a farmer and not a hunter. G, be gracious. Be a giver, not a taker. One of my major professors in life, my major mentor as an academic, Professor Fosnell, he had won every honor an engineer could win in America. So one day I asked him, Prof, could you kindly tell me what the secret of your success is? He said, Chinedu, you know, in every situation I find myself, I try to give more than I take. He wasn't a born-again Christian per se, but the principles of Jesus, it is more blessed to give than to receive, had modeled and molded his character, his worldview, and his mindset. To give more than I receive. H, be humble, not haughty. You know, sometimes I see young men bragging, young women bragging. Maybe you're handsome and you make sure about it. Maybe you're pretty, you make sure about it. You don't look at those who are paraplegic. You don't look at those who are deformed one way or the other. People who are born blind, people who are born, you know, with Down syndromes and so on. You don't realize that whatever you are, God has made you. You need to be humble. You need to realize it could have been you. What about those who die when they travel? What about those who never had the opportunity that you have? Any leadership opportunity I have, I regard it as a sacred trust from God. And I want to do my best in it. So be humble. And for those of you who wonder, when I say be humble, think of God. God is too much. It's not the kind of certain things you hear people when they pray, you begin to wonder whether they actually are praying to God or praying to their servant. And some of us have become senior special advisors to God the way we pray, instead of allowing him to modify our lives and our characters and even our tongues as we speak. God said, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. How much higher are the heavens from the earth? Let me give you a scientific image that may puzzle you. We all know the speed of light. 186,000 miles per second, or 300,000 kilometers per second. That's the speed of light. If you were to travel from here to the moon at the speed of light, you will hit the moon in less than 2 seconds. In less than 2 seconds, you will hit the moon at the speed of light. If you travel to the sun at the speed of light, you will get to the sun in 8.3 minutes. And the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth. If you now want to travel to the middle, or no, not just to the middle, to the other end of our own galaxy. How many galaxies do we have? Scientists used to think 200 years ago that we had 10,000 galaxies, 12,000 galaxies. They now know that we have galaxies, not in thousands, not in millions, not in trillions, but in quadrillions. We have more than 10 quadrillion galaxies, having 50 billion trillion stars. And these stars are mostly much larger than the sun. December 2011, a star was discovered. As you know, the star, this nearest star to us is the sun. A star was discovered in 2011 that was 12 billion times the size of our sun. Now, if you want to travel to the extent of our own one galaxy, out of quadrillion of galaxies, it will take you 32,000 years at the speed of light. And if you want to travel to the edge of the universe at the speed of light, judging from the expanse of the universe, it will take you 16 billion years. And God does this in a twinkling of an eye. My ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. That's why we are confident in him. And when he sends us, we go. And we are not afraid. Why should I be busy amassing things for myself instead of doing my job correctly? Be humble. Be innovative. That is an indispensable quality of excellence in leadership. And even for survival and growth. Be just. Don't be a slave to political orientation or political correctness. Justice, equity, fairness. Let them be your hallmarks. Be knowledgeable. Be knowledge-driven. Be thoroughly informed. And perennially learning. As our sister, our ma here said, you should always be learning. I learn all the time. If I make a mistake and people point it out, I accept it. When I was vice chancellor, people were surprised. I will be thinking of something, a member of the Senate, maybe a lecturer, not even a professor, will say something, and I will thank that person, and we will go by that superior argument. Be knowledgeable, be informed, be perennially learning. Be a leader, not a boss. Because some people are just bosses. They want to show their power. Sometimes people get confused about my style of leadership. They believe I'm not firm. But no vice chancellor has disciplined staff the way I did at UNN. Not one. I was the only vice chancellor who removed a dean from office. One day, I sacked 2 PhD lecturers. One day. Why? They were so licentious, so immoral, that they were forcing students to sleep with them, including married women and pregnant women. I sacked them the same day. That day, my phone got filled up. People thanking me. People sending messages from UK, from US, Europe, and so on, that God will ever bless me for sacking these people. People who were their victims. Otherwise, you get an F. One lecturer got a girl's son, took it, and wrote the name of the hotel and the room she should go and book. In order to, as you said, grade sorting. You sell your body in order to sort grade. And you think God will bless whatever qualification you get from that. You are deceiving yourself. Unless you repent. So, be a leader, not a boss. A problem solver. If there are places that need discipline, enforce discipline. And do it with grace. Be modest. Don't be megalomaniacal. Be modest. Cut your coat according to your cloth. When we were children, they used to sing, cut your coat according to your size. No more. Because your size may be too big. But the cloth you have may only sew monkey jacket for you. So you just cut according to your cloth, not your size. Be modest. Carry yourself in a meek and humble way. And you will not offend. And be natural. Don't be a pretender. A hypocrite, two-faced. Don't fake things. Part of the problem in marriages today is young men fake who they are not. And they go and pick some wonderful girls and destroy them. And then young girls who are horrible will also fake that they are good people. And then they get into that man and destroy him. Don't fake anything. Be yourself. Be natural. If you are natural, the chances are you will be able to learn the good and the bad and the worst. You will learn the good, the better, and the best. You will now learn how to choose the best over the better and over the good. Be optimistic. Don't be a pessimist. There are people who are natural pessimist. While I was Vice Chancellor UNN, you know, the Senate is a place where professors like to let Vice Chancellors know that he's just one among equals. And I had no problem with that. But the wonderful thing is that UNN Senate gave me everything I ever asked. In fact, 2 professors on a Christmas celebration evening said that if they had not known me as a committed child of God, they would be asking where I got the otrumokbo to make UNN Senate bow to everything I wanted. Why? Because I would do it in a humble way. One example, we were summoned to Abuja. On a day I was supposed to present to Senate the punishment for exam malpractice. You giraffe, they rusticate you. You take Umbo to class, they rusticate you. You get mercenary, they rusticate you. You copy from your lab, they rusticate you. I said it was too bad. There should be graded punishment for graded offenses. Some will be, you fail that exam, or they take away 10 points from you, and then you still complete the exam like giraffing. And sometimes the giraffers don't even know how to giraffe properly. When I was lecturing as a professor one time, a man persistently was giraffing. So when I warned him the 3rd time, and he didn't stop, I went and wrote -10 with red. So whatever grade he got, I would deduct 10 marks. Unfortunately, at the end of the exam, he scored 6%. When I deducted 10, it became -4%. And the man he was giraffing from also failed. So, because I wasn't there, Senate threw that thing, tore it to shreds and threw away. DVC called me, academic. VC, they rejected that proposal. They rejected it. I said, don't worry. Next Senate, I'll bring it up. Next Senate, I brought it. Some people started, we dealt with this last time. Why are we bringing it back again? I explained to them. Then I started giving them reason. One person said, we didn't know. It wasn't explained to us like that. Another person said, yeah, VC, sir, you're making sense. You're making sense. There is no reason why somebody who giraffed will have the same punishment as somebody who got mercenary. At the end of the day, by the time the 4th or 5th person spoke in favor, approved, everybody approved, and that passed. You be humble enough to present, beg. When I went to beg for my students who had been sacked from the university some 5 years, 8 years, dismissed because of one problem or the other, and I wanted Senate to kindly look at them, I brought it and pleaded with senators, please. These are sons and daughters. We're in this university for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. What do we do to get them out? How can we make sure that they now graduate? And then some people say, no, there's no forgiveness in this kind of place. You don't. We went on and on. At the end of the day, they accepted my proposal. Some of them had to do just 1 year. Some of them had to repeat just one course. At the end of the year, they were all allowed to graduate. One day in Abuja, I just stopped at the airport, came outside. One young man dressed in safari, white, sparkling white, just came before me, knelt and held my leg. My VC, I am what I am today because of that action you took in that university. So what am I saying here? Don't always think that optimism is just for one thing or the other. Be optimistic about the future of others. Give them a chance. And don't be a pessimist. Be proactive and not reactive. Take positive steps forward. Don't be reactive, waiting for things to happen, and then you will take action. Cure, be quality driven. Don't be a mediocre. Go for the best in every situation. As I told you, there is always something in me wanting me to excel. It's a passion. I want to be the best. I want to be the best. Why would you not want to be the best? And I ask myself, if I want to be the best lecturer, the best professor, the best vice chancellor, why wouldn't I want to be the best husband to my wife, the best father to my children, and the best grandchildren, the best father-in-law? Why would I not allow positive correlation to drive the entire aspects of my life, my mindset, my worldview, etc.? So be quality driven. Be reliable, not wishy-washy. Once people know that you are not reliable, you are not trustworthy, they will back away from you. They will not believe you. They will not trust you. So be truthful. You know, I don't know if any of you was at UNN when I was vice chancellor. The first year I came there, I noticed that students were being exploited in every manner. You pay your normal school fees. Department will ask you for something. Lecturers will ask you for something. Units will ask you for something. Faculty will ask you for something. Registry will ask you for something. At the end of the day, nobody knew what the school fees actually was. So what did I do? I engaged the student union government in so many meetings, telling them, I want to consolidate all the fees, so that once you know your school fees, that's what you pay. Nobody will demand anything from you. And the Nsukka people agreed. Enugu campus was still giving a little problem. And then eventually, I decided to do that. I carried the management along. Everybody was along. Some people said this is the opportunity they have to get rid of Nebo, that the kind of riots that will come will be so much that he will run away from this university. That was my first year. So once we now told people what to pay, it ranged from 10,000 naira a year to 25,000 naira a year. Is that too much? 10,000 naira for your education in the university a year? And some pupils are paying 1 million a year in primary school. Some secondary school, 2 million a year. And you come to university, you can't pay 10,000. And you're expecting people to teach you. And you get a degree and get some learning and go. So we decided that we are going to go with that. There was a little confusion. Some student union leaders in Nsukka campus came and they said, this is too much, it's much larger. I said, but nobody will ask you. At the end of the year, you will be paying much more if I continue the way they were doing. So, Enugu campus rioted. They said they demonstrated, not rioting. And I said, I will go and meet them. Hey, did you this? He said, don't come, don't come, don't come. I said, I will go. And eventually I came. They were at the gate, blocked the gate. That was the only demonstration, the only day there was demonstration throughout my time at UNN. I came down. The same people who were shouting, and I addressed them. I said, what is your problem? What's your problem? We consolidated these things for your own good. And I told them, you people are too many. Just appoint a few, and we will go to the Deputy Vice Chancellor's office, and we will talk about these things and reach an accord. They agreed. And the same people who were singing their songs of down with Vice Chancellor started singing Nebo, Nebo, Kaigeso, Monejeje, Monhanana. The same group. We got there. And I talked to them. They accepted. But when parents started complaining I published the fees in the newspaper because the Minister of Education had denied me, saying that no Vice Chancellor had authority to do what I did. Like I said, be courageous. They denied me. And so, when I published it, parents, the same parents who were complaining, say, Prof, is this true? VC, is this true? I said, yes. He said, how come my son is demanding 120,000? How come my daughter is asking for 80,000? 10,000 to 25,000. 25,000 was the maximum for medicine. So the students now came back, Daddy, why did you publish that thing? You know the implication of that. They didn't want it to be known so that they will continue to extort their parents. And all of you know that the post-UTME, I started it at UNN. That's why it was initially called Nebo Jam. And the reason was, we found out that people would score 320 in JAM, but they didn't know the formula for water. They didn't know the formula for sodium chloride. They paid the people in the computer room and they gave them the highest possible scores. And they came in, and second MBBS exam, most of them will fail. Some of them didn't even get up to second MBBS. So I started post-UTME. Register of JAM wanted my head up. National Assembly wanted my head up. Ministry of Education wanted my... At a time, I told them, if you are ready, I will tender my resignation. The minister said it hadn't come to that. God bless that woman. She helped me a lot. When I explained to her what was happening, she stood by me. And today, every university does post-UTME. That was the single most important thing that stopped cultism in most universities. Because you were now getting bona fide students. Not students who bought admission, who didn't belong to university, but their parents were wealthy and rich enough. To the point that my own Baba, who didn't even live in a place where electricity was, he used hurricane lantern and candles to read and prepare for school start and for JAM. He passed and came and took post-UTME, and he was number 5. Baba, who trained himself from secondary school, JS1, to that time. So when I saw he passed this in, I offered to pay his school fees throughout his stay at UNN. Why am I saying this? You must be reliable in such a way that people can trust you. You are not wishy-washy. They can count on you. We're almost getting to the last one. S, be a servant, be a servant, be a servant. There are no two ways about it. That young man that our auntie here talked about, she mastered the art of service. When you're serving like that, even if the person you're serving does not recognize you, God will recognize you and bless you. It is a proven fact. So if auntie had not been kind enough to help him and so on, God will still reward him elsewhere. But you know the problem with your generation? You want everybody to serve you. You want to do minimum work for maximum pay. Minimum work for maximum remuneration. 3 years ago, something trended so pervasively in the social media. An illustration. A watermelon company had two workers that were about the same position, and one was favored as opposed to the other. Let's call one Michael and the other one Ezra. Michael was angry that Ezra was promoted over him. But the manager knew that there was a difference between Michael and Ezra. What was the difference? The manager asked Michael, go throughout the whole town, find out if there is any other watermelon company. And he went. And he found out, and he came back, and he reported that there was a watermelon company. And he gave the address. And the manager says, "That's all?" He said, "Yes, that's all. That's what you asked me to do." The manager told him, "Go and call Ezra." He called Ezra. In the presence of Michael, the manager told Ezra, "Go and find out if there is any other watermelon company in town. And let me know." If Ezra were part of this generation that will prefer expo to what you have learned by yourself, he will ask Michael, "I beg you, make you forget that quarrel. Is there anyone?" He will tell him and he will go. You know what Ezra did? He went to town. He got to the company, interviewed the management, found out their capacity to deliver, find out their turnovers, how much tonnages and so on, truckloads, pounds, weight loads and so on. Found that out. He asked them, "What if we decided to be your distributor since you're bigger than us? How much discount?" He found that. "What if we didn't have the money to deposit?" He asked so many questions, got all the answers, came back. Before he gave his report, the manager said, "Send for Michael," and Michael came. He asked Michael, "What did I ask you to do?" "Sir, you said I should go and find out if there is a watermelon company. And I found out and told you." In the presence of Michael, "Ezra, what did I ask you to do?" "Sir, you said I should go and find out if there is watermelon company. And I found out there is. This is the address." "And sir, that is not all. I found out the tonnages they handle. I found out how much waste they normally have. I found out their discount for those who are their main distributors and agents. I found out the credit system." He went on and on. And Michael was just like this. He wanted maximum salary for minimum effort. If you're like that, you will never be an excellent leader. Exert yourself when you're young. My son called and, he wasn't complaining. He said, "Daddy, this work. I told him, "Look, you're a young man. You're a young man. Do it now." After all, you were complaining that at your age, you hadn't accomplished what I accomplished. This is the way to accomplish it. He's not a director, but the kind of responsibility they gave him in that federal parastatal is that of a director. When the Oga Kpata wants to do anything, if he's not there, he will wait for him to come. Who will represent him? Not the directors. He will ask him, "You will travel here. You go and represent me. You do the presentation here. You will interface with these people," and so on. Diligence. Service. Servanthood. Service is the key to greatness. Number T, be transparent. No hidden agenda, no selfish manipulations. You, be upright. Don't be a wheeler-dealer. Be righteous. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Shun corruption. When I was minister, people complain, "Hey, Prof, this is not how to be minister. You should show your Oga. I will be climbing the staircase." And they say it's only for minister. I thought that thing away. Minister, no be 2 legs I get. What of all these people? People who come with wheelchair and they will say they have to use the other thing because this one is for minister, whether he's in town or out of town. Haba. Anytime I told them, remove this sign, this lift will no longer be just for minister, it's for everybody. Why would I want to exert my position or anything? And people say, "Hey, look at, you are not interested in this contract, in that contract." I said, well, the things are written and defined. The head of every procurement unit is the permanent secretary. He's the head. Why should I encroach on his responsibility? At the end of the day, when they were turning our files over to punish everybody who worked for Jonathan, nobody ever called me to ask me any question. Be transparent. Be transparent. No hidden agendas and no selfish manipulation. Be upright, as I said, not wheeler-dealer. Like you use your position, what can I get out of this? Don't be corrupt. Uprightness. Be virtuous. Don't be a villain. Be a virtuous somebody. Do the right thing, the godly thing. Don't be counted among the evildoers. Be wise and well-informed. Wise. Wisdom is the capacity to utilize knowledge and information properly. To be an excellent leader, you need to ask God for wisdom, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of discernment. For instance, at UNN, I will round up in a few minutes because we have only a couple of them. When I found out that there were troublesome professors who were naysayers, no matter what suggestions others make, they will tell you why it will not work. They were perennial pessimists. You bring anything, they say it won't work. You know what I did? I formed a committee and gave it a good sounding name and made them members of that committee and gave them the job, gave them the terms of reference. They know that VC always say, every day matters are rising. When will this matter stop arising? The next Senate, they didn't come because they didn't finish the report. 2 Senates later, they didn't come because they didn't finish the report. For 6 months, they didn't show up in Senate, so we were able to do all positive things without the naysayers. Get them occupied. And then I found out 3 professors who were negative in every regard. And I called them and tell them, go and design a 10-year development plan for UNN. They accepted. And they said, this man, one day, after months of not producing anything, they came. They said, VC, we want to ask you a question. I said, what? He said, who gave you the wisdom? You are younger than all of us here. Who gave you the wisdom to know that we are the 3 professors who have fought every vice chancellor since the past 30 years? You gave us a task that is so difficult for us, and because of it, we have no time to fight you. Who gave you that wisdom? They were confessing in my office. That 10-year development plan never came. Because while they were busy struggling and finding out what to write and so on, I peacefully finished my tenure and left them. You need wisdom. X, that's the only one that's negative. Don't be xenophobic. Love all men, all women. Be outgoing. Accept aliens, foreigners. Don't be nepotistic. Don't be xenophobic. Shun nepotism. Be an iconic. Oh, that one is for next one. Why? Be a yardstick, not a yeoman. In other words, be iconic. Be a good reference point. Not when people think of you, they think of evil. Like Auntie asked the question, who will be mixed if you were with people and you left? Will they miss you or will you miss them? Ask yourself. It's more blessed to give than to receive. Never forget that. And then the Z one, be zealous and not laid back. Be passionate about your role. And remember that God will be there to reward you. While I was Vice Chancellor, there were things that I did that people did not understand. I knew I was Vice Chancellor. I'm from Enugu State. So I made up my mind. Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, I took Abia State. Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, I took Ebonyi State. Deputy Vice Chancellor Enugu Campus, I took Anambra State. And then eventually I started with Deputy Vice Chancellor Enugu Campus, Imo State, and eventually Anambra State. The bursar, Anambra. The registrar, Imo. I didn't have anything to do with those. But at least my Deputy Vice Chancellors, I made sure that not only did they represent the various states, but also denominations. I'm an Anglican. One of them was a Presbyterian. The other two were Roman Catholics, and so on, to make sure that things are balanced. Fairness, equitableness, and so on. And then, to ram it up together, in summary, I want to give you a warning. And that warning is, you've heard about a man called Steve Jobs, one of the greatest innovators of our time. He was a great man, known everywhere. Everywhere. But there was something about him. Steve Jobs intimidated and insulted subordinates. Steve Jobs treated them as commodities, dispensable commodities. All this A to Z wasn't part of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs took credit for other people's idea. I never do it. If you give me a suggestion and you allow me, I will say so-and-so suggested it. We are going to go with it because it's superior argument. Steve Jobs never did that. Then Steve Jobs made people around him feel small and irrelevant. And then he died a young man in his 50s as a most miserable human being. Billionaire, but miserable. He was never a great leader, let alone excellent leader. Try to do so. And if you want to be an excellent leader, you have to either communicate or the system will disintegrate. You either instruct or destruct. You either inform or deform. You either organize or you will end up agonizing. You either redress what is wrong or regret not doing so. You either deploy, employ, or you destroy whatever you have. You either innovate or you suffocate. And you either evaluate or you decimate. And then finally, you either aspire or expire. God bless you all. Thank you.
Hello. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. Thank you so much.